Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to try to make an updo with fake hair that kind of looks similar to this woman's. This is from the first episode of Columbo from I believe the late 60s. I just thought her style was awesome, and I've always had trouble with my hair. I'm not good at styling it, and I've been sick for a long time, so it's not the healthiest. So I thought maybe if I had something fake, like using these little donuts and some fake hair, and created almost like a, I don't know, like a toupee, a fancy toupee, that I could just plop on my head and it would look like a beautiful updo that I actually put effort into. So that's my plan for ordering all of this. I got everything off Aliexpress. Oh, there's Tookie. He wanted to come and visit. He likes to make sure I'm staying productive. But anyway, I ordered everything off AliExpress, and I really tried to find what would match my hair best. And of course, you know, the long hair parts that are like ponytail extensions, they showed up too red, and the braid showed up kind of too dark. So I decided just to start working anyway and create this little like spongy headpiece that I could sit on top of my head and bobby pin it to my head and maybe put my top knot in the middle, and then do the updo, like create it all the way around this like headpiece. So the other thing I decided to do was look up how to dye wigs, and one video said to just take like boiling hot water and then put hair dye in it and then soak the wig in it for a long time. I didn't have the right hair dye. It looked like they used kind of like more of those soy-based dyes, something like a Manic Panic, and all I had was this one hair dye that was just like super toxic. I wasn't using it anymore. I switched to using henna. The Lush henna in brown is the least toxic hair dye in Europe, if you need to know that. Anyway, so I thought, I have this, I'm not going to use it, maybe I just use it on the fake hair. It's definitely not the same type of dye as those others, and it totally did not work at all. It did not dye the hair whatsoever. So I switched to plan B, which was another way that I saw that you could dye hair by taking Sharpies and pulling the core out, putting them into a spray bottle with rubbing alcohol, and then spraying the hair with the Sharpie color. So I bought brown Sharpies, and I have my little spray bottle here, my rubbing alcohol, and I put together my concoction to make my hairspray. And I believe I left it overnight because I really wanted a lot of the dye from the Sharpie to get really into that rubbing alcohol. So then I just used hairpins and pinned the hair up, and that way I can spray it in this cardboard box. But as you can see, the dye, or hopefully you can see that the dye was really red, so I was not expecting that. I was trying to get rid of red and get it to be more brown. It just didn't work, so I thought I might as well just go ahead and move forward, try to make the hairpiece, and maybe there's a way that I can dye it later by spraying it with something else. I just wanted to see how I could wrap the hair around this like spongy base that I have. For the long pieces of hair, there's a fabric backing, and so I was able to sew the fabric backing to the spongy donut parts and then wrap and work the hair around. And I didn't want to try to sew the ends of the hair to the hairpiece because I was just experimenting with this. I'd never tried to make anything like this before. So instead I opted for bobby pins, so it's not permanent and I can always change it later. I fiddled with the hair enough to get it to look like some sort of hair wrap. I don't know. I've never been good with doing hair. I left it for a couple days and just kind of sat and looked at it. Anyway, I just thought, why not try it on? So my first idea was to do a small top knot in the top of my hair, and then that is what I could pin the hairpiece around. It felt really funny wearing it. I felt like I had like a giant, strange hat on. And then I took the rest of my hair and kind of wrapped it up and around the back so that maybe the front would be like the fancy fake hair, and then the back would kind of blend in with my own hair. And as you can see, it just looks pretty bad. I grabbed my winter coat and put that on because I thought that might help sell the hairdo a little more, but it still just looked pretty terrible, so I decided to take everything down, comb my hair out, plop the hair on my head with no top knot, and then see how it looks if I just wrap my hair all the way around it. I always have these like pieces of hair on top that I don't know what to do with. And this looked okay, actually. I thought it looked terrible at the time, but I actually think it looks pretty decent except for that chunk of fake hair that's showing through. So I decided to cousin it and do a third try and comb some of my hair forward, so that way I was bringing hair up and around the fake hair all the way around. So it's kind of a bummer because it covers up everything that I'd been working on before, but I think it's the only solution if I wanted to try to wear a hairpiece like this, is to just fully cover it with my own hair, because otherwise the fake hair just looks too fake and it just doesn't look right. So instead of it being like a super fancy updo, it kind of ended up looking like a giant old lady's beehive. And it's still pretty messy. I don't know what's wrong with me here. I tried to dress it up with like a scarf and some lipstick. I'm like, does this look better? No, it still looks like there's a weird lump in the front. I try to hide my pimple with my finger. You'd think at almost 40 years old you wouldn't get acne, but I'm going through a hormone rebalancing protocol right now, and I've gotten hormonal acne recently, and it's so weird to have acne at my age. I sort of felt fancy with it on, but I also felt like my hair did not look good. It looked like a giant mess. It didn't really look like this beautifully styled hair. I felt more like the Mars Attacks alien, although her hair even looks way better. And then when I took it off, it just all fell apart. So that was a pretty big bummer as well, is that the hair just all fell out. But that's because I held it together with bobby pins. I didn't sew anything in place. So this is a fail for now, but I haven't totally given up on it. The other issue that I'm having with it is that the hairpiece itself is so heavy that after like 20 minutes of wearing it, it was killing my neck and killing my head, and I was getting such a bad headache that I had to take it off. I like couldn't wait to get it off. So I'm thinking I might just take all the fake hair off of it and just use the little foam core that I made to wrap my hair up and around and call it good, because wearing like a big pile of fake hair, I don't know how people do it, like heavy wigs and big hair pieces. It was really painful and my head was pounding. I felt like I was getting a migraine. So So that's it. That's my failed hairpiece. It was fun to work on, and I learned some things. I didn't know how to dye wigs before that, and even though it wasn't very successful of an attempt, I have an idea now of how to dye wigs, and if I ever come across a hair dye that could actually dye the red out of that, it would be cool to actually experiment with. Alright, that's it everyone. Happy New Year's. I'll see you next year.